Hello Quarks, I'm your host Quazar, and today we have something very, very interesting to talk about, and that of course is Cosmo and his skill issue. So recently I got in a friendly argument with one of my friends, okay? Please do not harass them if they say who they are in the comments. I personally will not be talking about them here. However, probably Tyre Gal knows exactly who they are, as they were defending me in this argument. Either way, this argument is about if Cosmo can or can't bake. Bake? Yes, I said Cosmo can't bake. It's a pretty weird thought considering his whole character is based around baking. However, it makes total sense when you give it a second thought. So, first of all, why in the world am I saying he can't bake? And what was the argument even about? So recently, I made a post on my community tab. It's for like another video I'm currently working on. But Cosmo was one of the options. And I made sure to add in that post that, remember, Cosmo can't bake. Now, this was soon corrected by my friend, who once again I will not name, and they said, actually, Sprout's the one that can't bake, you're lying. Now, keep in mind, this is friendly stuff. I am not trying to be rude, neither were they. We are friends here, this is a friendly argument, please do not harass anyone. Thank you. So, they said that Sprout's the one that can't cook, and that Cosmo taught Sprout how to cook, and if anyone knows, like me constantly has to read all of the interactions with the characters, you know that this is not true, and quite the opposite. But, obviously I have to prove my point, because entertainment value. So, here's the first piece of information right here. Now, this right here is an interaction between Cosmo and Brightney, where they're talking about how both Cosmo and Sprout learned from a cookbook. This is the closest thing I could find that they assumed was Cosmo teaching Sprout how to cook. Like, there is nothing else in the entirety of this game or anywhere that shows Cosmo taught Sprout how to bake. If I say cook instead of bake at any time, no, I mean bake. I just like saying Cosmo can't cook better than Cosmo can't bake. Okay, so what we just found there is Brightney gave Cosmo a cookbook, and he showed it to Sprout, and they are both learning from it. That is the closest thing I could find to Sprout and being taught by Cosmo, like, ever. That was the closest thing anywhere in this game. Now, to prove my point about how Cosmo can't cook/bake, I like saying cook more. Now, first thing I have to say is, please pardon the white line there. Apparently, I'm bad at cropping images. Alright, thanks. So this says, do I smell a burning scent? It's probably nothing. Now, this paired with the animation of Sprout and Cosmo cooking kind of confirms the whole thing that Cosmo's the one that failed to properly set the oven or whatever, and that's the reason there was a huge fire in that cutscene. So, after carefully reviewing that cutscene, I could easily tell that Cosmo's the one in charge of the oven burning. Okay, and multiple times. See his dialogue after he completes a machine where he says, do I smell something burning? I'm pretty sure we already talked about that. And then there's his whole dialogue with Toodles, where he's like, yeah, I'm usually careful enough sometimes. It's on the screen right now if you want to read that, but yeah. So, that's another thing that adds to the whole, he kind of isn't good at cooking. But, this detail, I pieced this together myself, and it's really funny. So, go ahead and snap my fingers to see the dialogue now. So, on screen right now, you're seeing, I hope this cookie is not too dry. Now, he says that when healing someone else, and that's pretty interesting, not much proof in itself, until we look at the dialogue between him and Tegan. Go ahead and show it, editor. So, this is the biggest proof I have for this, and that is his dialogue with Tegan, where they talk about how Tegan wants some cookies. At first, Cosmo assumes it's for an upcoming tea party, and then she goes on to say, no, it's not for the tea party, I just think your cookies go great with my tea. Now, that doesn't sound important, but it is. You see, tea often goes with a very specific type of cookie. Now, the cookies that often go with tea are shortbread cookies, digestive biscuits, or ginger snaps. Now, that sounds super unimportant, but all of those cookies have a very common factor, being crunchy. Not like a cookie, more like a potato chip. If you ever had a good cookie, you'll know that they're crumbly, just like a classic cookie. And those are the ones that are baked, similar to cupcakes, which we know Cosmo and Sprout bake. Why is this important? I'm getting to it. Stop asking questions. Okay, so Cosmo is being asked to make, oops, I moved my microphone, to make cookies for Tegan, for her tea. Not normal cookies. Wait, no. Phooey. Yeah. He's being asked to make his normal cookies, the type he always makes. Now, these are implied to be similar to cupcakes simply because he cooks cupcakes. Also, this whole place has way more connections to America than anywhere else, like Britain. So, the common types of cookies here is going to be like a classic chocolate chip cookie, not a ginger snap. And yes, people do have ginger snaps and biscuits in the US. It's just a whole lot less common. So, back to my point. Cosmo is being asked to bake his cookies. His signature cookies that he always makes for Tegan's tea. Now, a normal, chocolate chip cookie and tea do not go together whatsoever. But a biscuit and tea do. If you see where I'm going with this, you already know what I'm going to say. He is often burning his cookies. See what you're seeing right now on screen? He says, I hope I didn't make this too dry. Not only that, but they're burnt. He is actively making extremely dry cookies, and everyone just kind of accepts it. They're his signature. Sprout doesn't make these cookies. They're Cosmo's cookies. Tegan easily could have asked Sprout, who is better at cooking than Cosmo, for these cookies, but she asked Cosmo instead because, like I said, he's burning those cookies. He's burning the cookies, and they're more like biscuits or a snap of some kind than a normal cookie, which is why they go so well with tea. And honestly, that's where this whole thing came from, okay? I pieced this together myself and didn't really put it out on the internet, so I see why no one else, why it was argued with in the first place. Please do remember, friendly argument with a friend. Don't get mad at them or me. I'm sorry if this somehow offended you. Cosmo's bad at cooking. Also, they agreed with my opinion at one point. I said Cosmo was bad at cooking. They were like, yeah. And then later, I guess maybe they glossed over that part. It was like a whole paragraph. So either they glossed over it and didn't really read it and just agreed with me, which you never do. Or they changed to their mind later on. Either way, I think I'm right. But honestly, if I didn't think I was right, I probably wouldn't have this opinion. I'd have the correct opinion. So with all that being said, thanks for watching. My next video, I believe, is about the most popular tune. So why don't you go ahead and pop your comments down right now who you think the most popular tune is, and we'll see if anyone's right next video. Please subscribe, and I'm your host, Quazar. If you do subscribe, you make me happy, so thanks. Okay, have a terrific day. Bye-bye. Stay entertained. Wait. Before you go, one last thing. Thank you to the Bit Maestro for the amazing remixes you hear in the background of my video. This one, I believe, is either a Cumulaton for Pokemon Black and White or the Amazing Digital Circus remix. Either way, I hope you liked it, and please have a terrific day. Goodbye. Oop, I hit my microphone. Oh, I did it again. Gosh. Oh, Mike. How?